I want to welcome you all to AAUW of Oregon's 2021 Awards Celebration Ceremony. I'm Pat Lehman, co-president of AAUW of Oregon. And once again, we'd like to thank everyone who participated in Sunday's 96th annual state meeting. Wasn't it a great event? The attendance was outstanding with, I believe, 136, did you say, members there, 101 delegates, every branch in the state represented, which was an historic first. So we appreciate your commitment and your involvement, and we're delighted that you're here tonight as well. Tonight, we're excited to present the culmination of our spring state gathering activities. We thank our hostess, AAUW of Oregon Fund's co-chair and Legacy Circle team member, Claudia Gray, for her outstanding work in creating this and arranging this event. We look forward with great anticipation to hearing from our International Fellow, Alexandra. And we also want to thank all of you who are being recognized tonight, because your commitment and your effort on behalf of women and girls inspires all of us. Thank you all. Sue?
I'm Sue Klumpf. I'm the other half of the co-president team, and we are a team. Tonight, we celebrate. We celebrate not only the members that we're going to hear about in our presentation, but we celebrate each and every one of you, all of our members from around the state. With that, we celebrate, respect, and truly appreciate your resilience and your commitment to AAUW's mission as we traversed through the pandemic and the restrictions that were brought on because of that during this past year. Our branches and each one of you have worked it through and made it happen. And we're here and we are strong. With that, I totally appreciate and thank each one of you. As stated by William Shakespeare, I can no other answer make, but thanks and ever thanks. I'm honored to present tonight our Masters of Ceremony, our Mistress of Ceremony, however she prefers to be called with it. My esteemed colleague, past president, AAUW of Oregon, Legacy Circle National Committee, AAUW Funds co-chair, National Life member, and I could keep going, but I won't. So Claudia Gray, thank you for taking us on tonight. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Sue. I would like to say, first of all, hello to Alexandra. And Nancy, I don't see her on my screen. Do you have her?
Yep.
Set? I can't find her.
Yeah, she's there.
Okay. So Alexandra and I have been communicating for several months by email, so I was delighted tonight to see her and be able to actually say hello. Our speaker tonight is Alexandra Vargas Quinones, and she's an international AAUW fellow from Lima, Peru. On page 1 of your program, which is your agenda page, you will see a photo of Alexandra and a very brief bio, but I've asked her to share more of that story with you and to tell you how she found us and ended up in Portland. Alexandra?
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Well, first, I want to start with thanking all of you. I really appreciate the work you're doing and the compromise with women, and not only in the United States, but around the world. I think this is a really important project, and personally, I really appreciate it. And second of all, thank you for inviting me here to tell my story. So I'm gonna start telling a little bit of my story. If you have any questions, please interrupt me, and I'm totally happy to expand on more other things. As Claudia already mentioned, I'm from Peru, from Lima, Peru. So it's a very different city from Portland. Even though we are in the same coast, because it's also by the Pacific, it's actually a desert. So coming from a gray beige city to Portland, which is green, and it's also gray because of the sky, but and the rain, but it was a really different perspective for me. So Actually, I study environmental engineer back home. And after that, I went to work on a cosmetic company. This company is a Peruvian corporation based on Peru, and it originally originated in Peru. And the focus of this company was women. So what they wanted to do is encourage women and empower women to be independent and give them education, career, and offer the products so that it's a tool for them to have an independent job. So I said I was an environmental engineer. What I was doing there? Well, I was hired in the smallest department of the company, which was the sustainability department. And in the department, there were 3 people. And we were responsible of mainly the environmental issues, such as water management, energy reduction, carbon emission, and all of related to the production of the products and all of the activities in the factories. But another large branch of the company was, as I mentioned, education and empower these women. So some of the things that we also did was creating educational material to give them more environmental knowledge about some things that maybe people in Peru already are not used, like, for example, recycling. We know that we have to recycle, we know that's important, but we don't really know the impact of well recycling, like here in Oregon. And like, what should I do with the piece of plastic? Why is it important for me to actually make sure that I reduce my impact, and how is it going to be beneficial for me and for the world? So we elaborated these materials to share with them. And that was also a tool for them to, when they were reaching to their clients, to say, oh, this cream product has 30% of recycled plastic. And that was something that they really liked, they really enjoy, and they really appreciate these efforts the company was doing with reducing the environmental impact. And they were really proud of sharing that information when selling their products. So I was working in that company right after I finished environmental engineer. And then 7 years went by. And I was looking to increase my knowledge, to increase, to maybe change my career, but always focus on the sustainability area. And I was looking for master programs. And I was looking for some programs in Peru, but I wanted something different. And the first thing that come to my mind was, if I'm going to study sustainable, if we're going to study environmental management, it's better to study in a place what actually you can see. Not only is in the books or in the text that you're reading, but you can go outside and you can see that there is a really great way to commute from one place to another using the bicycle. Or where there's, like, you just turn around and you see a whole construction with solar panels. Or PSU now, which is focused on my project, is like there's a lot of eco roofs and flow-through planters to reduce the pollution of stormwater and etc. So I literally Googled sustainable green cities in the United States, and Portland is one of them. And then I started looking at the programs, looking at the different universities, and I really, really love the environmental science and management program at PSU. So yeah, I started using Google, learning about the university, learning about the city. I also really like that it was a liberal city and a green city, a sustainable city, and not only green with like eco roofs or bicycle routes, but only like actually green. There's like, just turn my head around, and now it's, because of the spirit, it's all green and beautiful. And yeah, and then the whole how to get in the university process start. For me, I had to take the GRA, this academic exam, and then the TOEFL for English, and then study for hours of that, and then sending off the papers. And and look into a way of how to, not only how to get to the university, but how I was going to pay the university. So yeah, I was like gathering all the documents, all the information, applying and waiting. And one of the requirements that PSU has is that you need to, before you start your master, you already need to have a project. So you need to contact who's going to be your professor, your advisor. And I was put in contact with my current advisor, and I told her, okay, I need to find job opportunities or some opportunities to be able to pay this program that I really wanted, that I'm already applying, but I don't know what's going to happen next. And actually, she had a very useful and comprehensive Excel list with different programs, different things. And she mentioned this AAUW fellowship. And that was, I think it was October, and the deadline was November. So I had to start running again, getting the letters from professors from the university. And as I mentioned, I'd worked 7 years. So I was out of school like 8 years, and getting back to them to say, I'm applying to this fellowship, and getting back to my former bosses from the cosmetic company. And then the pandemic started. So yeah, so then everything, it was crazy. It was complicated. I guess like that's something that nobody expected. It's like, what am I gonna do? Should I just like quit my first year, like leave it like that and just go back to Peru, go back home and figure out what's next? And then I first was in the standby list, and then I finally got the great news that I was being accepted in the program, and that was last summer, and this was going to be covering for the second year of the program. Well, actually, the program that I'm in, which is the Professional Science Master, is a 2.5-3 year program, but I managed to put it in 2 years. So yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning of our meeting, this is my last term, and I'm graduating in pretty soon, which is really exciting, but it also means that I need to have my project finished and be ready for my defense, which is not really excited at this point, I think, but it's going. So yeah. And please, if I'm talking too fast or you want to have any question, just let me know. Going back to what Claudia mentioned at the beginning, I came to this environmental management through waste. This may sound silly, but when I was in my last years in high school, I didn't want to go to college. It's like, I don't want to study anymore. I just want to get a broom and sweep the streets. That's what I wanted to do, because it was dirty, it was a mess, and it was something to be needed. So my mom suggested, why you don't study environmental engineer? And for me at that point, environmental engineer sound like civil engineer and things like that. So I was like, well, I took a year off. After a year, I realized that I wanted to take environmental engineer. So yeah, and now I'm studying again. So I guess I kind of like studying. I am even thinking about the possibility of a PhD. So yeah. Now I guess maybe when I was in high school, I wasn't sure how interesting it was to learn more things and to keep studying. And currently my project in the master is focused on stormwater runoff management. So as I mentioned before, PSU has, like, I think many parts of the city here in Portland has stormwater green infrastructures, which are eco roofs, bioswales, flow-through planters, and stormwater harvesting system that are being reused in 3 buildings of the university. And the project I'm working in with a partner, we are focusing on doing a whole inventory of all the stormwater facilities and then analyzing the impact of climate change in those facilities. Because our goal is, we know that this water, even though it goes through this green infrastructure, those facilities don't take all the water. So there is a huge percent of water that goes to the streets, drags all the pollutants, and ends in the Willamette River, which impacts the environment, ecosystem, and salmon. And well, I think that story, it's already known. So our goal is to see what's going to happen with climate change, because with climate change, we're expecting more intense precipitations. So that's meaning more water. So what we want to analyze in our project is like how many more green infrastructure PSU needs to implement to be able to reduce the largest amount of water. So we are doing a model, which is a tool from the EP, Environmental Protection Agency, that analyzes runoff water. So we input different variables, temperature, precipitation, and then we see the reduction of the water. And our final document is some recommendations to the university for the next 50 to 80 years, so that they can implement these facilities and take into account what things can be implemented to reduce the environmental footprint of this of the water pollution from the university. So that's the project I'm working right now, and which is also something interesting, because when I arrived to my advisor, her projects were focused on carbon emissions and carbon footprint and climate change impact. And I was really interested in working in climate change. And she suggested that I work in this stormwater management project. And she said, like, are you interested? And I said, like, yes, of course, I'm very interested, but I come from a desert. So in Lima, it doesn't really rain. So I will need to start to, not what is a stormwater green infrastructure, but my first literature review was pretty much what is rain. So it was a whole, like a long way of learning. And yeah, well, living in Portland, I think it's pretty easy to understand what rain means. And unfortunately, this last year of my project has been here, sitting at home with my computer and using a lot of Google Street View to know more of those things. But yeah, I think it's been a really, really great experience. And I hope that can be reflected in my final project and in my defense in a couple of weeks. So yes. I saw a couple of questions.
Are there questions, Nancy?
Oh, I'm reading Sherry's question, but
okay.
What is the rainfall in Portland? Well, the rainfall in Portland, it's the problem in Portland is not that it rains a lot of volume, but it's a lot of intensity and all the year. So that's why it's like a long process management. It's not only in the wet season, but according to our numbers, I think PSU is responsible for 39 million gallons of water that could drain to the Willamette River. So that's why the impact of trying to reduce that water. What will I do when I graduate? That's a really good question, because well, my interests are really large. I started with waste. In this cosmetic company, I was focused on environmental education and also climate change projects and carbon emissions. And now I'm working in urban environmental impacts. And I think for now, what I want to do is apply everything that I learned and maybe keep studying later. So the student visa allows me to work 3 more years like to get a permanent job here, which is it is something really great because I'm in the science and technical STEM field. So I'm applying to that. I apply already like mid of March. That takes like 5 months. And hopefully I get an opportunity to work here and
see her.
Yeah, and expand a little bit of my experience. I don't know if it's open in the United States. I would love to say it in this part of the coast. I will be able to work in water management, not in Lima, but in the rest of Peru, because Lima is the capital and it's the big city. It has 30% of the whole population of the country, and everything is very centralized. But Peru, also has the jungle and the mountains, and those are regions with a lot of water and a lot of water management necessity. So if I would be able to apply that, there would be a really, really great opportunity.
Good. I don't think there's another question there, Alexandra.
Yeah, and I don't want to. We want to be mindful of the time.
I need to ask you now. Are you able to go home at all this summer?
No, first I didn't. Oh, I have a good news. I got my appointment today for my vaccine, which is going to be next Saturday. So yeah, that's really exciting.
Did you ever think we'd be so happy about getting shots?
Yeah, and also I was hearing that my arm is gonna hurt, and then the second shot I may be sick. So, but I'm still really excited. So,
having had both, no, I had none of that.
Oh, so that's good to hear.
Are you able to stay in touch with your family? I don't know how locked down you are in Peru.
Well, the lockdown, I think it's stronger than here. Now things are coming a little back to normal, but it was like you couldn't even get out with your car, and it was more strict than here.
Okay.
But yeah, fortunately, I think now we're here in Zoom, and now my family, my sisters, everybody knows how to use Zoom. So I think in a way I was more connected to them now with the pandemic than before, because we had all these different platforms to keep in touch. But yeah, no traveling.
Good.
Nor for me or my parents until we both get the shots. So,
good. But everybody's fine.
Yeah, everybody's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have a question they want to ask Alexandra before we let her go? I know she's really busy because she's getting ready. 45 days you said?
Yeah.
There are a few things in chat. Pat, Mary Pat has talked about the nonfiction book called Rain.
Yeah.
And Monica talked about living in Eastern Washington in the desert at less than 6 inches of rain per year. When we did have rain, the storm drains always clogged and overflowed and the streets flooded. So perhaps your new knowledge can be used in the desert as well?
Yeah, well, clogging problems here, I think it was more than because of leaves. In the fall, all the drain systems that cover with leaves. And yeah, we haven't got into that in our project, but we have mentioned it that PSU needs to really do maintenance of that, because then those drain systems don't work. So yeah, and thank you for the book. I haven't heard about it. I'm gonna write it down.
You can Google the author.
Yeah.
We love
it's hard to remember the name, Rain.
Rain.
Yeah.
Now that you know what rain is, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a favor. When you are finished with your project and you've done all your defense of it and that sort of thing, please, would you let me know when you are finished so we can all congratulate you?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Well, you're our fellow, and our fellows are kind of like our little sisters, and we like to keep track of you. So please do let me know so we can enjoy it along with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one question from Patty.
Peggy,
have you traveled?
Yeah. Well, let's go up. Peggy asked, how many women are in your academic area?
More than men.
Oh.
And actually, that's something that I wanted to mention in my notes, but I totally forgot. When I started in undergrad in the environmental engineering, from the group, which were like 20, there were only 3 men. And I was surprised. And now in the environmental science and management, also there are more women. It's not a higher percent, but it could be maybe like 60 to 40. So I think it's interesting, because for me, sustainable development and environmental management are like really critical topics right now. And it's interesting to know that, or to see that women are more interested in this topic than men. So yeah, that's something that I've never thought before.
Someone's asked if you've been to other parts of the United States while you've been here. Have you
I
been
went
out of
to I went to Seattle. That was winter last year before the pandemic. And yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it?
no.
Yeah. You've been locked down.
Yeah. So I wanted to travel to the coast, to California, or to the other coast, but no, it wasn't possible. So.
But it doesn't sound as if you're going home right away. You have 3 more years on your visa, so you can stay and see some things, and hopefully.
Yeah, that definitely will.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That gives you something to look forward to. Any other last minute questions?
Well, I just want to
there-
read a couple more of the comments.
Yeah.
Kieran has a master's in environmental science and worked for a city in Eastern Oregon, and make sure the city met environmental and safety regulations. So check out City Public Works Departments is her recommendation.
Thank you.
Carol wants to know, what is the percentage of water that gets filtered by the Portland systems that are currently in place?
I don't know about the whole city, but for PSU is 19%. So it is not too low, but it still is far from 100%. So.
Excellent.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, Alexandra, thank you so much for being with us tonight. As I said, I know you're really busy right now, and I appreciate your taking time to do this.
And everyone, we know we have our reactions down at the bottom of the screen. There's a clap hand, so we can clap hands.
Thank you very much, and
or
I'm
give her
really,
thumbs
really
up.
thank you.
And please, I'll stay in touch with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias,
Bye-bye.
Alejandra.
Gracias.
Bye.
Okay. I think it was especially interesting to me that we had an international fellow, because normally we have one of the fellows who is funded, at least in part, by one of the 19 endowments connected with Oregon. But when I heard that she was studying at Portland State and studying water, I thought we've got to find out what she's doing. So now I'm going to ask you, please, if you have your program in front of you, to turn to page, what is essentially the second page of your program, which is the page that lists the top 10 branches and the major donors. And I think Betsy's going to discuss this with you. Betsy?
Thank you so much, Claudia. I wanted to start by saying that this is based on the February count from 2020, the membership count. And so the actual membership numbers within the branches can change, of course, before and after that count point. Overall, in Oregon, donations were down. But as you saw in Ginny Didium's membership report, membership was down as well. I think our membership is down 104 people from last year. Every branch in Oregon made a contribution to AAUW funds. The lowest number was $15, but we still appreciate it. And as you see, the highest number is right there, Portland, $13,054. So as you look at, I like to look at this vertically. First on the left, the total dollars given, the top 10 branches, number 1 being Portland, 2 Gresham, 3 Ashland, 4 Grants Pass, 5 Medford, 6 Hillsborough Forest Grove, 7 is Salem, 8 is Lake Oswego, and 9 Pendleton, 10 Eugene Lane. And I just couldn't resist, Claudia, sorry, 11 is Tigard area. You see Eugene Lane's total is 1,226. Tigard area was 1,202. So it's almost a tie right there.
Good
And
catch.
thank you. And for per capita, this is always interesting because some of the smaller branches are on this list, the smallest being Roseburg right there at number 7. But the highest per capita giving in our state was in the Gresham area branch, a branch of 58 at the time people. Second was Portland, 100 members approximately. And how about Hillsborough Forest Grove, 43 members. Salem has 67 members. You can see their per capita is $70.82. Pendleton, 41 members, $67.32. Number 6 was Medford, $60.83, 95 people. There's Roseburg. I think they have 22 members. Grants Pass is number 8 per capita. Ashland is number 9, and this is where Ashland's, awesomeness with their 173 members works against them a little bit because they have a very high total, but their per capita is a little bit lower because of it. And then Lake Oswego, $50.37 per capita, 91 members. We just have a fabulous history in our state of branch support, member support. We get what funds do and why we love them. And just wondered if anybody has any questions about this particular part of the program. All right. Thanks so much for your generosity, everyone.
Branch named gift honorees are next. And I will apologize up front in that this was really not supposed to be sent out when you registered, and evidently it upset at least one of the branches because they had not told their named gift honorees and they wanted it to be a surprise tonight. And so I apologize to them for that. Branches are entitled to name one person for every $500 that they give, but that is set aside from any major donations of $1,000. And I want to particularly compliment Betsy because, in fact, we're going to pat each other on the back because both her Salem branch, where she's the funds chair, and my Hillsborough Forest Grove, where I'm the funds chair, were in the top 10 for both categories. I think maybe we put a little bit of pressure on them during the year too. So the branch name gift honorees, you have seen those. I will be sending certificates tomorrow, and I'm going to ask the branch funds chairs, please print those out and somehow get them to your people. I'm not sure how you want to do that. But I'll do that for tomorrow. They'll get to you. Jenny, you have some membership awards that you want to do at this time?
I do have some awards, and we're early here, so you're doing an excellent job, Claudia.
Okay.
So when I took over this job, I wasn't given any instructions, so I made up my own rules. And we've all been told if we're given lemons, make lemonade, but I like lemons. So I think that more appropriate for this year's membership is some Icelandic gnome. Advice. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It is about learning to dance in the rain. We did not know our umbrella was going to be called Zoom, but that's what's happened this year. So I applaud everyone that's learned to dance in the rain the best they can. So for my awards tonight, my first gnome, and you're not getting my gnome, goes to Mary Pat Silvera. Mary Pat, upon becoming a district director, went and joined every branch in the North Central District except one. She did not join the online branch, so I give her honorary membership in that branch. However, to Susan Walke, she gets a gnome because she joined 100% of the branches in the Northwest District. To the Tillamook branch, I give you the Now You See It, Now You Don't award. That branch had members that were members, then they weren't members, they disappeared, then they came back, they disappeared again. Now they've managed to stick for about 2 months. So I'm hoping, and I know Susan Pierce is out there, I'm hoping that they manage to stick for the whole year. They are not the only branch that have problems with disappearing members. As we all know, National is working on limited manpower, one person answering the phone in the main office, and it's a male. They pick up their actual letters and that once a week. So it's been difficult. I want to give, I won't tell to which branch. It's called the Stop Renewing Your Member Award, because after renewing someone 3 times in 1 year, that was way too many. However, there were several branches that just got a little carried away, but it's been taken care of. Now for the usual awards, because those are really my favorite. For increase in membership, the Tigard area branch and the online branch tied. Now, they did not add a lot of new, they didn't back up. This is for increase in membership. Increase in membership. Online branch and the Tigard area increased their membership. It was only by 2. So for all the rest of you out there, don't feel so bad. The Baker branch increased their membership by 1. But every branch hung in there and did their best. For the most new members, Ashland brought in the most new members, followed by Medford. So I don't know what's going on in Southern Oregon, but these 2 branches certainly have their acts together. Some other awards, Salem. Salem has the most CU reps, and they have the most honorary life members. I don't know what that means, but that's what goes on in Salem. And the online branch gets an award for having the most dual in-state members. And other than that, we will learn to dance in the rain with Zoom, and we will continue this next year. And I hope that we will sometime in the future be able to meet together and share our wisdom. Done.
Thank you, Jenny. That was delightful, and I love your little gnome.
That's a male gnome.
Well, we can dress him up maybe.
I did the best I could.
I know, I have them. It is really hard to find women gnomes.
Yes.
However, men are members of AAUW.
True.
Right.
True.
Right. But I still want a woman gnome. Thank you.
I'll find one for you, Jenny. Is Penny Hudenpile online at Nancy? I haven't seen her.
I'm here.
Oh, good. You're up
Okay.
next, Penny. Penny is going to do a review of the Breaking Barriers Awards.
Okay. Well, that's a really hard act to follow, Jenny Didium. What we wanted to do this year was to do a review of all of the Breaking Barrier Achievement Award folks that we've had over the last years. And so you have their pictures, and I'll give you an update on each of them. I did want to say that we have this wonderful award thanks to Marilyn Zook, Pat Lehman, and Linda O'Hara. This was their idea, and it's just been a grand experience for me. So looking at these incredible women, Carrie Hull was our first Breaking Barriers Achievement Award winner. She was nominated by Ashland. And currently, kind of hang on to your hats here, she's the executive director of You Have Options. She is the trainer and director of a specialized forensic interview company called CF ETI. And she also is the CEO of the Carrie Hull consulting firm. And within that, she teaches law enforcement special units about interviewing techniques. Second in 2016 is Brenda Tracy. She was nominated by the Gresham branch. And she is an advocate for victims of assault, particularly sexual assault. She's a national speaker, she's an advocate, and she is a lobbyist. And for those of you that remember, I think it was the 2017 legislative session, she did some work on redoing the way we manage our rape kits. In 2017, she created a nonprofit called Set the Expectation, which is an advocacy program regarding sexual assault. And she's working with college men's sports teams, and they sign a pledge that if they commit violent acts, they get to tell about it, and then they get to be excused from their sport. In 2017, we had Emily Evans from the Women's Foundation of Oregon. She was nominated by the Portland branch. She's with the Women's Foundation of Oregon, and she has been their executive director for the last 7 years. And of course, if you remember her presentation at convention that year, she talked about the Winnebago, and she drove around Oregon and interviewed women in a listening tour, and then put together the information in Count Her In. And it's probably one of the best landmark surveys of women's issues here in Oregon. Emily sent me an email recently. She will be leaving the Women's Foundation. She says after 7 years, they're stable. They have lots of really good grant programs in place, and they have 5,000 members, and she's going to go on to other endeavors. In 2018, Dr. Sheila Rowley, the superintendent of the Seaside Public School System, was our winner. She was in the Seaside School District for 30 years as a teacher, coach, principal, and finally the superintendent. And her last 3 years or so were spent building brand new schools up on the hill so that if we have a tsunami, the kids are safe. And the high schools open and the junior highs open, and she retired. In 2019, it was Felicita Monteblanco, who is an advocate for Latin women and girls. And she is currently working for the Northwest Health Foundation, which is a group that's working on healthcare for everyone. She is their public affairs manager and their government relations manager. And she is a candidate again. This will be her second term for the Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District. She's the only Latina on the board, and she's really happy because she's running unopposed. And last but not least is the wonderful Oregon Women's History Consortium. They were nominated by Lake Oswego. And they've had a very busy year, Jan Dilge was telling me. Nevertheless, they persisted, is still on at the Oregon Historical Society. They did 3 huge projects this year. The first one is the National Votes for Women Trail Map. You should see the documentation. It's pretty incredible. And then they are doing markers regarding suffrage around the state of Oregon, and they'll be putting one up in Pendleton and Salem. And then finally, they did for Women's Equality Day, they did the Chalk the Vote project, and some of our branches participated in that. So that's where all those incredible women are, and I'm just so, so pleased that we have been able to honor them over the years. And I want to say a very special thank you to the 21 members from around the state who worked on the selection committees over the years to choose these winners. And a special shout out to Lisa McNeely at Award Specialties in Hillsborough, who developed our plaque. And a special thank you to all of you for letting me do this incredible job. It was just wonderful, and I've really enjoyed meeting all these incredible women. Thank you.
Penny, thank you. That's a wonderful update on all of those previous winners. We wonder sometimes what they're doing. It's lovely to find out how well they're doing. And I have to say, Felicita is also a member of the Hillsborough Forest Grove branch. We don't see her very often because she's really busy, but she is a member. Thank you, Penny. Trish Garner, are you on the line somewhere?
Yep, I'm here.
Go.
I am,
Trish wants
I'm
to
here.
make some acknowledgements tonight too. So we fit her into the schedule. And since we're very early, we're doing really well, Trish.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Well, it's been a Zoom day for me. There are one entity, one person that I want to recognize. The first is I really want to call out the Ashland branch. For those of you who don't know, we have been lobbying on behalf of a bill that would require women and people from underrepresented communities to be on the corporate boards of publicly traded corporations with principal businesses here in Oregon. And what Ashland did is that they did an absolutely amazing job of research and writing, a page on the topic. They looked at international examples, they looked at historical examples, they looked, you name it. And they wrote it so clearly and so cogently. And so one of the things, and of course we've been, communicating with each other as the bill has been going forward and so on. And I filed the report as an exhibit to the House Rules Committee that was considering the measure. Well, just this week, when the Rules Committee was having a work session, invited. It's a time when the legislators decide, well, are we going to send this on with the due pass recommendation? Are we going to refer it to Ways and Means? Are we just going to kind of buck it down the road or sit on it? Well, the good news is, and I'll get to Ashland, the good news is that the House Rules Committee determined to pass the bill on to the House for vote with a due pass recommendation. So that's a significant chunk of progress for that bill. But the reason I mention this and I put Ashland together is when the legislators were kind of chatting with each other, one of the representatives said, well, how many companies is this going to have an impact on? And so the chair of the committee, Representative Smith Warner, asked the staff person, well, do we have any idea? And she said, well, AAUW filed this report. It's an exhibit, and they list, was just a preliminary list, but they have like 27, 28 or more corporations. So again, I don't know if that convinced anybody, but I think it was really important. It's like, when you go to these work sessions, it's kind of like someone raises an objection and you kind of go, is this going to stop it? And then another objection, is this going to stop it? Well, when this question was asked, I was doing the, is this going to stop it? And that report on behalf of the Ashland branch was a bill saver. So for those of you who want to see it, obviously you can go take a look at the exhibit for House Bill 3110. You can certainly ask me. I'd be more than happy to mail you a copy. They were all well received and indeed read by legislators. So I have a great amount of appreciation, a great sense of camaraderie and collaboration. I just give my very best to the Ashland branch, who really extended themselves in this area. So bravo. Hopefully someone here is from the Ashland branch. I think the people that worked on it, Regina Ayers, Ann Barr, Julie Benezat, Mary Renaud. I may be missing someone. I hope I'm not. Feel free if you're here to remind me. So the other entity, and this is a person that I would like to recognize. Her name is Maya Pillon, Pillon. She can't be here this evening, but she's a Linfield college student, and apropos, of course, the corporate board diversity bill. I was trying to get a hold of corporate women or women who, you know, were in the business who could say, wow, you know, women really made a great difference in bottom line and corporate culture. Well, so what we had to do is, you know, basically find whatever kind of source we could find and try to get in contact with these people. You know, you can do Facebook and LinkedIn and so on, but that doesn't mean you have an email address. So Maya asked if she could help because she was interested in the legislation. And so she just piled through a ton of corporate filings and so on, and got me a number of names. And I contacted those individuals, and they, not all of them, but many of them ultimately filed testimony in support of the corporate board diversity bill. Now, she's a junior at Linfield University. She's a psych and sociology double major with gender studies and neuroscience minors. Not too shabby. In the future, she hopes to, I'm quoting here, use her love for social justice and research to analyze policy and improve social programs. So she couldn't be here, but I asked her, and she made a little clip, a very brief little hello and thank you. So Nancy, can you show that one?
Hello, my name is Maya Pillon, and I am a junior at Linfield University. I am a psychology and sociology double major with a gender studies minor. I would like to send a huge thank you to the AAUW of Oregon for giving me the opportunity to do some research on the corporate diversity bill. In the future, I hope to use my love for social justice and research to analyze policy and improve social programs. Currently, I am very interested in Title IX and other policies that allow for marginalized groups to gain more representation in all aspects of society. Thank you again for this amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I'll be sending her a certificate and extending our thanks to her. So, and by the way, just one thing, as Pam Shea is reminding us, you can find the report on the Ashland branch website, the one I was referring to before. So thank you so much. Thank you for your support of public policy, and onward and upward.
Trish, thank you for everything that you do. I think you're just absolutely amazing, but you know that. I've told you that. Thank you for sharing her with us also. That's very nice. I want to mention at this time, if you will look at your programs, please, on pages 5 and 6, you will see the AAUW Donor Club. What we have in Oregon is a Century Club, which is made up of members who give at least $100 in the previous year, and then they're a member of the Century Club. We are fortunate in this state that we have a large number of members who've done this for many, many years. God bless them all. I will say there was one mistake on here. Sarah Elmer is actually a 28-year Century Club member from Bend, Oregon. And this year we had 34 new first-year Century Club members. Thank you to all of you who are willing to donate that amount to the AAUW funds in whichever category you choose. That makes us, unfortunately, we're not doing national conventions, but it seems to make Oregon in the top 10 every single year we have a national convention. Oregon supports the funds greatly. And I will mention at the same time, if you are doing funds in your branch, the Legal Advocacy Fund is now completely, fully endowed and does not need any more donations to it. It's a favorite in Oregon because Cappy Eaton in Eugene started that fund. But the National has been telling us on the Legacy Circle team again and again, that fund is totally endowed. In effect, it's closed. Do not donate to it anymore. Either give to the general greatest needs or to one of your other favorite, whichever you prefer. On page 7 in your workbook is a list of the Legacy Circle members in Oregon. And I feel very badly. I have to announce that one of them, Joan Enlow of Medford, died last month, and her name is still on the list. When I redo the list tomorrow morning before I send out the program to all of you, that her name will not be in that list. I will remind you that the Legacy Circle is made up of members and non-members who have included AAUW nationally in their will or estate plan. There are lots and lots of ways to do that. And some of them actually will help you with your taxes, like inheritance and that sort of thing. Contact me if you're interested. You don't have to tell anybody what you've left, and you do not have to, there is no minimum for that. Tomorrow, I'm going to send emails to all the branch presidents and all the branch funds chairs that will include certificates for all of your branch named gift honorees and a corrected program of tonight's meeting. I'm sorry that I can't include Jenny's gnome. I wish I could somehow get, maybe Nancy can email me a picture and I will put him in the program because I thought he was very cute. Thank you. The next item on our agenda then is Betsy, who is going to announce the 2020 State Named Gift Honorees. Betsy?
Thank you, Claudia. Our State Named Gift Honorees happen to know each other very well. They happen to sort of cross-reference each other in their state reports. They are all on the state board. They are Trish Garner, Nancy Brown, and Pat Squire. And they really have done an outstanding job, and they broke new ground in their Together on the Path to Anti-Racism this fall. We were sort of ahead of the curve in a way. Members' attention kind of built to attend these meetings. And then we also have each of them as individuals outstanding in their field. I think we note the number of hours that Trish puts in with her public policy committee. And also, as she said, you know, zooming her head off with these legislative meetings, writing lots of emails, and making us look really, really good. Pat is a woman of just, I think, generous ideas and energy. And she and Nancy have kind of, the thing that sort of fascinates me about this threesome is they are all three chiefs, in my opinion. They all three are very self-starter, full of ideas, can do it all themselves, but they work together. So it was a unanimous vote, and I just am very, very proud and happy to announce that the three of you are our named gift honorees for 2020. Or 21.
How very kind.
And you can all hit your applause button or your thumbs up button, please. And Pat Lehman has a heart up. Yes. And Betsy was absolutely right. This was unanimous. These three were everyone's nominee, everything that I got. And for good reason, obviously. We've kept them all very, very busy, and they've kept us on track. And thank you to all of you. They will also be getting certificates tomorrow when I send everything out. Betsy, is there anything else you want to say before we finish this?
I think we've got it. You know, in years past, we did communication awards, but that just wasn't very readily available to us this year. So I appreciate everybody coming tonight and listening and learning. And it's wonderful to see you, even if you're only on.
Yeah, this is so unlike most of our years. And I noticed that especially with the branch named gift honorees, because branches choose whether they want to announce it in a branch meeting before the convention, the annual meeting, or whether they want to wait and surprise them at the annual meeting. And this year they had no choice in that. I'm sorry about that, but I congratulate every single one of those. Some of the branches had as many as 11 branch named gift honorees. And remember, there's one for every $500. So you know that biggie was Portland. They named all 11. I was very proud of them. So tomorrow morning, I will start sending out emails to every branch, and there'll be certificates for all of the branch named, the top 10 branches for their donations to the funds, for every branch named gift honoree, for the state named gift honorees, of course. And I'll include tonight's corrected program, which also includes all of the tributes and memorials that members made when they made their funds donation. For every $25, they are entitled to make it either a tribute or a memorial. And those people get separate cards at the same time. So please contact me if you have any problems with any of the emails that go out tomorrow. They probably won't all go out. I probably won't finish until tomorrow night, so be a little patient with that. Let me know if you have any problem. Let me know if you want to talk about the Legacy Circle. And I really appreciate all of you coming tonight. I know you're zoomed out.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it.
I am so proud to be a member of AAUW of Oregon, because you are so outstanding, so accomplished, so gracious, and so much fun to be with. Thank you all.
I second that one. Go AAUW Oregon.
Thank you all.
Amen. Amen.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.